I want to start today's practice with a simple question that might surprise you, and maybe it will make your ears open a little more. Have you ever felt that even when you listen to English every day, something still feels missing, like the words are close to you but still floating just out of reach? If yes, you are not alone. And today, we're going to walk through that feeling together in a calm and friendly way. Hi, friends. Welcome back to our English learning channel. I'm Sarah, and I'm really happy you're here with me again today. I hope you are in a comfortable place right now. Maybe sitting on your bed, maybe on a chair, or maybe even walking slowly outside with your headphones. Wherever you are, I want you to take a deep breath and let your mind relax. Today is your time. This listening practice is for you. And trust me, by the end of this session, your English ears will feel lighter, stronger, and more confident. Today's practice is called B1 English Listening Practice for Better Speaking. And yes, the title is true. You really can improve your speaking by listening. Many English learners think speaking comes first, but actually listening is the secret door. When you listen, your mind naturally learns the rhythm of English, the music of the sentences, the simple patterns, the natural sounds. Even if you don't notice it, your brain is learning quietly in the background. So in today's long listening session, I will speak slowly, clearly, and naturally. I will tell you a story. I will explain vocabulary. I will repeat sentences. I will ask questions, and I will guide you gently step by step. And all you have to do is listen. Before we start the main story, I want to share a small moment from my morning today. When I woke up, I made a simple cup of warm tea. I sat near the window, watching the early sunlight slowly enter my room. The world felt peaceful, and I thought to myself, learning English should also feel like this. Calm, simple, warm. Not stressful, not scary, not fast. Just slow steps forward. That is the feeling I want you to have today. So, let's begin the main practice. Today, I will tell you a simple, real-life style story about a day in my life, but with a focus on English learning. The story is not dramatic or wild. It's normal, calm, and honest because real English is also like that. Every moment can teach you something if you listen carefully. As I tell the story, I want you to imagine everything clearly in your mind, almost like a soft movie playing in slow motion. The story begins on a quiet Monday morning. I opened my eyes slowly, and the first thing I noticed was the sound of light rain outside. It wasn't heavy, just a soft tapping sound on the window glass. I smiled because I love rainy mornings. They make everything feel slower, gentler, and somehow easier to understand. Maybe you know this feeling too. I sat up on my bed and stretched my arms. My mind felt a little sleepy, but also peaceful. And then something interesting happened. I suddenly remembered a message from one of my English students. Her name is Lena. She is learning English, and sometimes she feels worried because she thinks her progress is too slow. Last night, she sent me a message saying, "Sarah, I listen every day, but I don't feel confident. How do I understand English naturally?" That message stayed in my mind when I woke up. And as I sat there listening to the soft rain, I thought, maybe today is the perfect day to answer her question. Maybe my whole day can become a lesson not only for her, but for all my listeners. And that is how this story began. So, after waking up, I slowly got out of bed and walked to the kitchen. I boiled water and made a cup of warm coffee this time, not tea. I sat at the table and checked my phone. There was another message from Lena. She wrote, "I want to speak English clearly, but when I listen, I get nervous." I read those words again and again. I get nervous. And I realized something important. Many learners feel the same. Maybe you also feel nervous sometimes when you listen to English. And that is completely normal. It is okay to feel nervous. Nervous just means you care. Nervous means you want to improve. So today, as you listen to me, I want you to relax. There is no test, no fast speech, no pressure, just simple English and a friendly voice. While drinking my coffee, I decided to make a plan. I thought, what if I take Lena with me through a normal day? What if I show her how English can appear everywhere, even in small moments? So I picked up my phone and sent her a voice message. I said, "Good morning, Lena. Today, I'm going to share something special with you. Just listen. No need to take notes. No need to repeat right away. Just listen with a calm mind. And I promise, by the end of the day, English will feel a little easier." After sending that message, I smiled. I felt excited because I knew this simple idea could help many learners. And now, you also get to experience that day with me. So, imagine with me, after finishing my coffee, I put on a soft sweater, grabbed my small bag, and stepped outside. The air was cool and fresh, and the rain had stopped. The sky still looked a little cloudy, but the world felt clean. I started walking down the street at a slow pace. I wasn't rushing. I just enjoyed the morning. As I walked, I noticed a small bakery on the corner. The smell of fresh bread was floating in the air. It was warm and inviting. I decided to go inside. The bakery was quiet, with only a few people and soft music playing in the background. I looked around and said to the woman at the counter, "Good morning. Can I have one croissant, please?" She smiled and replied, "Of course." I watched her pick a warm croissant from the tray and place it in a small paper bag. The bag felt warm in my hand, and the smell made me even more hungry. I said, "Thank you so much." And she said, "Have a great day." Now, the reason I'm telling you this simple moment is because this is natural English. Listen again to the short conversation. "Good morning. Can I have one croissant, please?" "Of course. Thank you so much. Have a great day." These 4 lines are the kind of English you hear every day in almost any country where people speak English. They're simple, friendly, and easy to understand. And if you practice them often, they slowly become part of your natural speaking style. So I want you to repeat after me softly, wherever you are. You don't need to speak loudly. Just whisper or say it in your mind. Ready? "Good morning. Can I have one croissant, please?" Good. Now, thank you so much. And finally, have a great day. See? These short lines are simple, but they help your English grow step by step. I walked out of the bakery with the warm croissant in my hand, and as I continued walking, I thought about Lena again. I wondered how she would feel listening to this simple story. I hoped it would help her relax and understand how natural English works. I also hoped it would help you feel the same. Because the secret to good listening is not fast stories or big words. The secret is patience, soft understanding, slow, natural English. As I walked further down the street, I reached a small park. The grass was still wet from the rain, and a few birds were hopping around looking for food. I sat on a wooden bench and opened the paper bag. The croissant was warm and soft, and the first bite tasted buttery and delicious. I sat there quietly, just enjoying the moment. And then I heard a small voice behind me. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" I turned around and saw a young man holding a cup of coffee. He looked polite and friendly. I smiled and said, "No, you can sit here." He sat down and thanked me. We didn't talk much, but we exchanged a few simple sentences. He said, "Nice weather today." And I replied, "Yes, the rain makes everything feel fresh." This short moment is another example of natural English. Simple sentences like, "Is this seat taken?" or "Nice weather today" are very common. And when you hear them many times, they become comfortable. They stop feeling scary. They start feeling natural. So let's repeat them softly together. Is this seat taken?
Good.
Now, nice weather today.
Great.
And one more. The rain makes everything feel fresh. Your ears are learning. Your mind is learning. This is how real listening practice works. After finishing my croissant, I stood up and started walking again. I felt calm and happy. The day felt slow and peaceful, and I enjoyed the silence around me. As I walked, I thought to myself, maybe many English learners need this kind of practice. Not fast English, not difficult English, just simple life, simple language, and simple stories. And that idea made me smile again. I continued walking until I reached a small bookstore. The sign outside said open, so I stepped inside. The bookstore was quiet, filled with the soft smell of paper. I walked slowly between the shelves, looking at different book covers. And then I heard a voice from behind the counter. "Hi there, let me know if you need any help." The woman working there had a warm voice. I said, "Thank you. I'm just looking around." Again, very natural English. Friendly, short, easy. I picked up a small notebook with a blue cover. I liked it, so I walked to the counter and said, "I'll take this one." She smiled and said, "Sure. Would you like a bag?" And I replied, "No, it's okay." She put the notebook in my hand and said, "Have a wonderful day." I said, "Thank you, you too." Now, I want you to repeat those lines slowly. "I'll take this one." Good. "Would you like a bag?" Nice. "No, it's okay." Perfect. These are the kinds of sentences that help you feel confident when speaking in real life. After leaving the bookstore, I started walking back home. The sky was brighter now, and the air felt fresh. As I walked, I listened to the soft sounds of the world. Cars passing, birds singing, people talking quietly. And then, I thought again about Lena's question, how do I understand English naturally? And I realized the answer is simple. You understand naturally when you listen to natural stories, when you listen without pressure, when you take your time, when you let the language come to you slowly. And that is exactly what we are doing today, together. When I reached back home and opened my door, the quiet sound of the room made me smile again. Sometimes silence feels like a soft blanket. My apartment was calm, clean, and warm, and it felt like the perfect place to continue my plan for the day. I placed the small blue notebook I bought from the bookstore on my table, took a deep breath, and thought about Lena again. I wondered if she received my morning voice message. I checked my phone, and saw a small notification. It was from her. She had replied with a short message. "I'm listening. Thank you." Those simple words made me feel happy because I knew she was ready to learn, and I knew you are also here listening with the same hope, the hope of improving step by step. I sat down on my chair, took a sip of water, and looked outside the window. The sky was getting brighter. The clouds were lighter now, floating slowly like soft pieces of cotton. Watching the sky always helps me think clearly. And then an idea came to me, something simple but powerful. I decided to walk my listeners, including Lena, through a deeper part of the day where English becomes not only something you hear, but something you feel. I wanted to show how English can become a part of your normal thoughts, the same way the sky becomes part of your morning. So I pressed the record button on my phone again and started speaking softly, just like I am speaking to you right now. I said, "Let me take you to the afternoon part of my day. Just keep listening and let your mind relax." After finishing that short recording, I stood up and made myself a light lunch, a simple sandwich with vegetables and a glass of water. Then I sat at my kitchen table and thought about how to explain something important to my listeners. Understanding English does not start with big words. It starts with small moments. So today, I will continue the story from my morning walk and show how the afternoon also became part of my English thinking day. After lunch, I grabbed my notebook and wrote down a few things. Slow English, simple conversations, natural moments. These 3 ideas were the key. And as I wrote them, I thought about how many learners forget this. They think English must be perfect, fast, or strong. But actually, simple English is the strongest way to learn. Then something small happened that became another teaching moment.
My phone rang.
It was a call from my friend Anna. She always speaks slowly and warmly, which makes her voice feel calming. I picked up the phone and said, "Hello?" And she said, "Hi, Sarah. I'm just calling to check on you. Are you free this afternoon? I'm going to the cafe near the library." I smiled and replied, "Yes, I'm free. I can meet you there." Now listen to that short conversation again. Are you free this afternoon? This is a very simple and natural question native speakers use all the time. You can use it with friends, family, or coworkers. So let's repeat it slowly together. Are you free this afternoon? Good. Now another line. I can meet you there. Repeat softly. I can meet you there. See how natural that feels? These are the building blocks of English conversations. Not long, difficult sentences. Just simple, friendly lines. After the call, I changed my clothes, grabbed my bag, and walked out again. The air outside felt warmer now because the rain had completely stopped. The clouds were moving slowly, making small shadows on the ground. As I walked toward the cafe, I passed by a small grocery shop. An older man was standing outside arranging apples. He looked up at me and said, "Good afternoon." I replied, "Good afternoon," and kept walking. This moment might seem small or unimportant, but these everyday greetings help you build confidence. Many learners feel shy saying good afternoon or good morning, but once you practice them, they become easy. So repeat this one too. Good afternoon. Nice. When I reached the cafe, I saw Anna sitting near the window with a cup of coffee in her hands. She waved at me and smiled. I walked inside, and the quiet music inside made the place feel peaceful. I sat down across from her and said, "Hi, Anna. How are you? She laughed softly and said, I'm good. I was waiting for you. She pushed a small plate of cookies toward me and said, Try one. I baked them this morning. Now here is another natural English moment. When she said, Try one, it was a friendly invitation. And when I replied, Thank you, they look delicious, it was a natural way to respond. Let's repeat that together. They look delicious. Again, soft and easy. They look delicious. As we talked, Anna told me about her weekend. She said she visited a small town outside the city. She described the slow streets, the warm sun, and how she spent the day walking and relaxing. I listened carefully, not just to enjoy the story, but also because simple stories are great listening practice. And while listening to her, I realized another important lesson. You don't always need special English study materials. Real stories, even simple ones from friends, can help you learn just as much. I want you to imagine the cafe with me now. Picture the warm wooden table, the quiet music, the smell of coffee, and the soft light coming through the window. Feel the atmosphere. Feel how calm the moment is. This is a perfect place for natural English learning. After talking for a while, Anna looked at the notebook I bought earlier and said, Is that new? I nodded and said, Yes, I found it in a bookstore this morning. She smiled and said, It looks nice. Are you planning to use it for something special? I hesitated for a second, then told her, Yes. I think I will use it to collect small English moments. Simple sentences. Natural conversations. Things learners can use. Anna nodded with excitement and said, That's a great idea. The cafe became a quiet classroom at that moment. Not a classroom with a teacher and a blackboard, but a soft, natural classroom. A place where English happens by itself, without stress. After about an hour of talking, Anna looked at her watch and said, I have to go now. I promised my mom I'd visit her. I stood up too and said, It was nice seeing you. She replied with, Let's meet again soon, and gave me a warm hug before leaving. When she walked out of the cafe, I stayed seated for a few more minutes. I looked at the empty cup on the table, listened to the soft sound of people talking quietly around me, and thought about how many English moments had already happened that day. And I realized something important that I want to share with you. English is not learned in one big moment. It is learned in many small moments. A greeting at a bakery. A simple question from a stranger. A short talk with a friend. A polite phrase at a store. A message on your phone. A small story someone tells you. These small pieces of English slowly join together in your mind, like puzzle pieces forming a clear picture. And when you listen to simple stories like this one, your own English puzzle becomes clearer. Now, I want to shift the focus a little and guide you through a short listening practice based on the story we just experienced. I will say a short sentence, and after a small pause, you can repeat it softly. Ready? Here we go. Are you free this afternoon? Good. I can meet you there. Nice. They look delicious. Perfect. Let's meet again soon. Very good. Good afternoon. Excellent. Now, let's do a small comprehension check. I will ask you a simple question, then pause for you to think. What did Anna bring to the cafe? Think for a moment. She brought cookies that she baked in the morning. Good job if you remembered it. Now another question. Where did I find the blue notebook?
Think.
Yes, in the bookstore during my morning walk.
Great. and
One more question. Why did Anna leave the cafe? Think again. Yes, she needed to visit her mom. These are simple details, but remembering them helps your mind stay active while listening. After finishing my short reflection inside the cafe, I stood up, put my notebook inside my bag, and walked outside. The sun was finally bright, and the street felt lively. People were walking, cars were moving slowly, and the air felt warm. I walked slowly toward the small park I visited in the morning. When I reached the park, I sat on the same wooden bench as before. The bench was dry now, and the grass looked greener. I took out my notebook and opened it. I wrote down a few simple English sentences from the day. Is this seat taken? Good afternoon. They look delicious. Are you free this afternoon? I looked at these sentences and felt something warm inside. These small lines were not just sentences. They were keys that open the door to natural English understanding. And these keys are now becoming part of your English too, because you listened to them today. As I sat there thinking, a small child ran past me, laughing loudly. His mother was following him and said, "Slow down." And the child turned and said, "Okay." This small moment made me smile. Even a child's simple English can become listening practice. And I want you to repeat that too. Slow down. And okay. It was funny because those two short words felt so natural and real. They reminded me that English is everywhere around us if we pay attention. And even when life feels fast, just like that little running child, we can slow down our mind, slow down our learning stress, and listen calmly. The day was moving slowly in a peaceful way. The sky was blue now, the sun was warm, and the park was full of life. And as I watched the world around me, I felt grateful. Grateful for the quiet moments. Grateful for simple English. Grateful for the chance to share this story with you. Because somewhere in this world, you're listening right now, learning with me, step by gentle step. I sat on the bench for a little while longer, enjoying the warm sunlight on my face. And then I whispered to myself, this is what learning feels like.
slow, soft,
Steady. And that is what I want for you too. The sun was slowly moving lower in the sky as I stood up from the park bench and began to walk toward home. Afternoon was turning into early evening, and the air felt a little cooler, brushing softly against my face. The shadows of the trees stretched long across the grass, and the sound of birds filled the quiet space around me. Every part of the moment felt gentle. And as I walked, I thought about the day so far. The bookstore, the cafe, the conversations, the small English moments that slowly built themselves into a rhythm. It felt like the day was teaching me something too, something calm and strong, something I wanted to share with you in this story. I passed a tall tree whose branches were still wet from the morning rain. Small drops of water fell quietly from the leaves, one by one, landing softly on the ground. The sound was tiny, almost invisible, but my ears caught it. And that made me think about English listening again. Sometimes the smallest sounds teach you the biggest lessons. Just like sometimes the smallest English sentences help you improve the fastest. As I got closer to the street, I noticed a small crowd near the sidewalk. People were gathered around a young man who was playing the guitar. His music filled the air with a warm, slow tune. It was the kind of music that makes you stop and breathe for a moment. I stood for a few seconds and listened. His voice was quiet, but clear. The lyrics were simple, and the rhythm felt like a calm heartbeat. A woman next to me said, "He plays here every Friday." I smiled and replied, "He's really good." The woman nodded and said, "Yes, his music always makes the evening feel special." She walked away slowly, leaving me with the soft sound of the guitar. These small interactions might seem like nothing, but they are powerful listening practice. When I said, "He's really good," I was using a very common expression. You can use this sentence for music, food, movies, or even a person's skill. Repeat it softly. "He's really good."
Good.
Another natural expression the woman used was, "He plays here every Friday." Repeat this one too. "He plays here every Friday."
Nice job.
After a few minutes, I continued my walk. The sky above was turning light orange, like soft paint spreading across the evening. I breathed deeply, letting the cool air fill my chest. My feet followed the familiar path toward home, but my mind wandered to something else. How many learners feel nervous speaking English? They worry about making mistakes, sounding strange, or not understanding quickly. And I want to gently remind you that feeling nervous is normal. Everyone feels it. But the more you listen, the more you practice, the more natural English becomes. While walking, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Lena. She wrote, "I listened to your morning story. It felt easy to understand. Thank you for speaking slowly." Her message warmed my heart. I replied gently, "I'm happy it helped. I'm recording more now." And I smiled because I knew you were listening too, following along with the day, learning step by step. As I came closer to my apartment street, I passed a small flower shop. The owner, an older woman with silver hair tied in a bun, was arranging fresh flowers outside her store. She smiled at me and said, "Good evening." I replied, "Good evening." She held up a small sunflower and said, "These just arrived today. They're beautiful, aren't they?" I nodded and said, "Yes, they look wonderful." Let's repeat that sentence. They look wonderful. Soft and simple. They look wonderful. The flower shop always had bright colors. Pinks, yellows, greens, spreading out like a gentle welcome to everyone who walked by. I always admired how the owner arranged the flowers with so much care. Her movements were slow, thoughtful, almost like a quiet dance. She looked at me and said, "You seem happy today." I laughed softly and said, "I had a peaceful day." She nodded and said, "That's good to hear. Peaceful days are important." That expression, "that's good to hear," is very natural. Repeat it. That's good to hear. Excellent. After talking for a short moment, I continued my walk. When I reached my building, I opened the door, walked up the stairs, and stepped into my apartment. The room welcomed me with the same soft quiet I had felt in the morning. I placed my bag on the table, took a deep breath, and decided to sit by the window. Evening light filled the room, turning everything slightly golden. I opened my notebook again. On one page, I wrote the words, peaceful, simple, natural. These 3 words described not only my day, but the way I want you to learn English.
Peacefully.
Simply. Naturally. I sat quietly for a few minutes, listening to the sounds outside. The distant cars, the quiet hum of people talking on the street, the soft wind brushing against the windows. Every sound felt like part of the story I was sharing with you. And then suddenly my phone rang. I looked at the screen and saw my friend Mark calling. I answered, saying, "Hi, Mark. How are you?" He laughed and said, "I'm good. I'm on my way to the supermarket. Do you need anything?" I shook my head even though he couldn't see me and said, "No, I'm fine. Thank you for asking." He replied, "All right. Just checking. Have a good evening." I said, "You too," and ended the call. Let's practice those natural phrases. Do you need anything? Repeat softly. Do you need anything? Good. Another one. Have a good evening. Repeat. Have a good evening. Perfect. After the call, I stayed near the window and watched as the sky slowly darkened. Streetlights turned on one by one, shining like small stars along the road. The city became calm again, just the way it felt in the morning, but with a different kind of quiet, an evening quiet, soft and deep. As I sat there, I felt something important growing inside me, something I wanted to share with you. English learning is not only about study. It's about feeling. It's about connecting moments. It's about letting language enter your daily life, not with pressure, but with peace. So, I decided to guide you through another listening practice, this time with slower, deeper sentences. Listen first, then repeat softly. I had a peaceful day.
Good.
The sky was beautiful in the evening.
Nice.
I met my friend at the cafe.
Great.
The music made the street feel warm. Excellent. I'm learning English step by step. Wonderful. Now, let's do a short comprehension practice. I'll ask you simple questions. Think for a moment, then answer in your mind. Question 1. What was the young man doing on the street? He was playing the guitar and singing. Question 2. What did the flower shop owner show me? She showed me a sunflower. Question 3. What did Mark ask me on the phone? He asked, "Do you need anything?" If you remembered these details, that means your listening is getting stronger. And even if you forgot one or two parts, that's okay. Listening improves with time, and every moment helps. After finishing my quiet moment by the window, I stood up and stretched my arms. I felt calm, relaxed, and ready to make dinner. I walked to the kitchen, turned on the soft overhead light, and started preparing something simple, warm soup. I chopped some vegetables slowly, listening to the gentle sound of the knife touching the cutting board. Even these everyday sounds felt peaceful. While cooking, I began to reflect on something important: confidence. Many learners think confidence comes after they become fluent, but that is not true. Confidence comes before fluency. Confidence appears when you try, when you speak, when you listen, when you repeat simple sentences even if you are unsure. Confidence is built, not found. And you are building it right now just by listening to this story. As the soup warmed on the stove, a soft aroma filled the kitchen. I sat at the table, waiting for it to finish cooking. While waiting, I looked at the notebook again and thought about writing more sentences for you. So I opened it and wrote, "I can try. I can learn. I can understand." 3 small sentences, but very powerful. Repeat each one softly. I can try. I can learn. I can understand. Let these words stay in your heart. Let them guide you. When the soup was ready, I poured it into a bowl and sat down to eat. The warmth of the soup made me feel even more relaxed. I took slow sips and stared at the soft light in the room. I felt grateful for the quiet evening, and I felt grateful for you listening with me. It felt like we were sharing the day together. After dinner, I washed the dishes slowly, enjoying the warm water on my hands. I turned off the kitchen light and walked to my living room. The night had fully arrived now, and the outside world was darker, calmer, almost silent. I sat on the sofa, pulled a blanket over my legs, and took a deep breath. This was my favorite part of the day, the quiet nighttime moment when everything feels still. And as I sat there in the soft dark, I thought about everything I had shared with you so far. The morning walk, the bookstore, the cafe, the park, the music on the street, the flower shop, the evening window, the warm soup. Each moment connected gently, like small beads on a string. And all of these moments carried simple, real English, the kind of English that feels natural. I closed my eyes for a moment and let the calmness fill me. Then I opened them again and whispered softly, "Learning is a journey." And I want you to feel that journey too. Tomorrow, a new story will come, a new moment, a new chance to listen and grow. But before that, we will continue this evening together because there is still more to share, more to practice, more to feel. So stay with me, stay calm, stay open, and let the English flow naturally. Because you are not just listening to English, you are living it. When I think about how learning English feels for many people, I always remember one special day when I met a group of learners during a small community class I was helping with, and that moment changed the way I explain English forever. So today, let me take you deeper into that story, because it will help you improve your listening, your speaking, and even your confidence. And as always, just relax, breathe slowly, and imagine that you are right there with me. It was a warm afternoon, not too hot, not too cold, and I walked into a simple classroom where about 10 learners were sitting in a circle. They all looked a little nervous, the same way many English learners feel when they have to listen to long sentences or talk in front of others. I smiled and said, "Hi, everyone, my name is Sarah. I am happy to be with you today." And slowly, the whole room felt lighter, softer, and more open. One girl sitting near the back raised her hand. Her name was Mira. She said, "I am scared to listen to English because I cannot follow fast sentences." I nodded and said something I want you to hear today too. You don't need to follow everything. You only need to follow enough to keep going. When I said that, everyone smiled. So today, I want you to listen with that same peaceful mind. You don't need to catch every word. You only need to stay with me and enjoy the journey. Now, when I sat with the group, I asked them a simple warm-up question. I said, "Tell me one thing you enjoy in English." Some people laughed because they thought they had nothing to say. But then a boy named Rafi stood up a little and said, "I like English movies, but I understand only a little." And that moment made me think of you. Yes, you who are listening to this practice right now. You might also enjoy English movies or English songs or English videos like this one, but you maybe understand only a little. And that is completely okay, because understanding a little is how every journey starts. So I said to the group, "Good. Understanding a little is your beginning. Understanding more comes with time." Then I asked them to do a fun exercise that you can also do with me right now. I said, "Close your eyes and listen to one short sentence. Then repeat it in your mind." So I looked at everyone, took a calm breath, and said, Learning English is a journey. And now I want you to repeat it in your mind too. Learning English is a journey. Good. After that, one man in the group looked very excited, like something suddenly made sense. He said, "Teacher, I think I listened too fast. My brain cannot relax." I smiled. Many learners feel the same way. When you try to listen fast, your mind becomes tight. And when your mind becomes tight, English sounds harder. So I told them something I want you to remember today. Slow listening is strong listening. Repeat it with me softly in your mind. Slow listening is strong listening.
Yes. Good.
Because when you listen slowly, your mind opens, your ears become more active, and your confidence grows. You start to understand more, even if the sentences are simple. Now, let me give you a small listening practice from that day. I told a group a short story, and they listened very quietly. I said, "Yesterday, I went to a small tea shop near my home. The shop owner smiled at me and asked, 'How is your day today?' I said, 'My day is busy but good.' Then he gave me a cup of tea, and the tea was warm, sweet, and perfect. And now I want you to listen to that again, but a little slower. Yesterday, I went to a small tea shop near my home. The shop owner smiled and asked, 'How is your day today?' I answered, 'Busy but good.' Then he gave me a cup of tea. The tea was warm. The tea was sweet. The tea was perfect. Now, here is your quick question. Why did I go to the tea shop? Think for a moment. Yes, because I wanted tea and it was near my home.
Good job.
Now another question. What did the shop owner ask me? Think. Yes, he asked, 'How is your day today?' Very good.
See?
You are already listening better. After this practice, one girl in the group raised her hand again. She said, "Teacher, sometimes I understand the story, but I forget the words later." I told her something that made the whole class smile. Forgetting is normal. What is not normal is giving up. And I want you to think about that too. You might forget some words today. You might forget some ideas tomorrow. But forgetting is part of the learning process. Forgetting is not failure. Forgetting is simply your brain trying to make space for new knowledge. When you listen again and again, your brain starts keeping the words longer. And slowly, you begin remembering without trying. Then we moved into vocabulary practice. I asked the group to repeat some words after me, and today you can do the same. Repeat slowly. Tea shop. Owner smiled, warm, busy, perfect. Good. Now I will use these words in simple sentences so your ears can learn them better. The tea shop is near my home. The owner smiled at me. The tea was warm. My day was busy. The moment felt perfect. And now, I want you to repeat some of these sentences softly with me. Repeat. The tea was warm.
Good.
My day was busy.
Good.
The tea shop is near my home. Excellent. Your listening and speaking muscles are getting stronger. After that, the group wanted more practice. So I gave them another small story. Listen carefully. A few weeks before that class, I went to a local park early in the morning. The sky was soft and quiet. People were jogging, walking, or sitting on benches. I sat near a big tree and listened to the birds. A little boy came near me and asked, "Do you come here every day?" I said, "Not every day, but I like this place." He smiled and ran back to his mother. Now here is your first question. Where did I sit in the park? Think. Yes, near a big tree. Second question. Who talked to me? Think, yes, a little boy. Third question. What did he ask me? Think, yes, he asked if I come there every day. Amazing. When the group finished answering, something beautiful happened. For the first time, I saw confidence rising in their eyes. They realized they could understand English stories when the language was simple and the pace was calm. And that is exactly what I want for you. You do not need complicated English to improve. You only need consistent listening, simple stories, and a peaceful mind. You are improving right now, simply by being here. So I looked at the group and said, you see, you can understand more than you think. And today I want to say the same thing to you. You can understand more than you think. Every time you listen, you grow. Every time you repeat, you get stronger. Every time you hear a story like this, your English becomes more natural. In fact, while you listen to this long practice, your brain is building new patterns, new pathways, new habits. You are not only learning English, you are becoming a more confident communicator. And that is powerful. Before ending that class, I shared a simple but important tip. I said, to improve listening, you must enjoy listening. If you enjoy what you hear, you will listen longer. If you listen longer, you will understand more. And if you understand more, you will speak better without force. So, I want you to enjoy this journey. Let English be something warm, something friendly, something safe in your life. Use it to explore stories, ideas, and new ways of thinking. Use it to open new doors. And most of all, use it to grow slowly, step by step. As the class ended, everyone stood up and thanked me with happy faces. But I told them the same thing I want to tell you now. Do not thank me. Thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for listening. Thank yourself for trying. Because this journey is yours. And I am simply your friend walking with you. I want to take you to another moment in my life, one that taught me how powerful consistent listening can be. This happened a few months after that community class. I was walking down a quiet street early in the morning. The sun was just rising, the sky was a soft orange color, and the world felt peaceful. The shops were still closed, and the streets were not busy yet. I carried a warm cup of coffee in my hand, and I listened to soft music playing in my headphones. And suddenly, I thought about something important. Every morning is like a new chance for learning. Every morning gives you a fresh mind. Every morning gives you another opportunity to listen, to practice, to repeat, and to grow. So today, as you listen to this part of the story, imagine you are also walking with me on that calm street, breathing in the fresh air, and feeling ready to learn something new. As I walked, I saw a small bookstore that I liked very much. The owner, Mr. Allen, was an older man with kind eyes and a warm smile. He always opened his shop earlier than other store owners. When he saw me, he waved and said, "Good morning, Sarah. You are up early again." I smiled and said, "Good morning, Mr. Allen. Yes, I am trying to make early mornings a habit." He laughed softly and said, "Habits build strong days." And I remember how that sentence stayed in my mind the whole day. Habits build strong days. It made me think about how English learners also need habits, especially listening habits. When you listen every day, even for a few minutes, your brain becomes familiar with English sounds, natural rhythms, and real-life expressions. So today, as you listen to this story, I want you to think about building your own small, simple habit. It does not need to be big. Even listening to English for 10 minutes after waking up can change the way you understand and speak. Now, back to the bookstore. When I stepped inside, the air smelled like old paper and soft wooden shelves. I loved it. Books covered every wall. Some books looked new and shiny, while others looked old and full of history. Mr. Allen always had interesting stories about the books he collected. That morning, I asked him, "Do you have any books for beginner English learners?" He nodded and picked up a small book with bright blue pages. He said, "This book is simple. Every page has a short story. Each story teaches one lesson." I opened it and read the first line slowly to myself. Learning starts when you stop being scared of mistakes. I smiled. This message was perfect for the learners I teach, and perfect for you too. Because mistakes are not the enemy. Mistakes are your teachers. Every mistake shows you what to improve. Every mistake helps you take a step forward. So, when you make mistakes in English, do not feel upset. Feel grateful. It means you are learning. I thanked Mr. Allen and walked further inside the store. While I looked through the shelves, I heard Mr. Allen quietly humming a tune. And then something unexpected happened. A young woman walked into the store. She looked a little confused, like she was searching for something, but not sure where to start. She walked up to me and asked in a soft voice, "Excuse me, do you speak English?" I smiled and said, "Yes, I do. How can I help you?" She looked relieved. She said, "I just moved here. I want to learn English better, but I feel shy to talk." I told her, "It's okay. Talking slowly is still talking. Talking imperfectly is still talking." Her eyes softened and she said, "I want to buy a book, but I don't know which book is easy for me." So I handed her the same blue book that Mr. Allen had given me. I told her, "This book is simple and friendly. Try reading one short story a day." She took the book, smiled with gratitude, and said, "Thank you. I will try my best." That moment reminded me how important it is for learners to feel supported, to feel understood.
And
That is why I speak to you today with patience and warmth. I want you to feel safe while you learn. I want English to feel like a friend, not something scary. Now, let's do a small listening practice from this part of the story. Listen carefully to this sentence. Talking slowly is still talking. I will repeat it slowly. Talking slowly is still talking. Now say it softly in your mind.
good.
This sentence means that you do not need to talk fast to be good at English. Slow is okay. Clear is enough. Repeat another sentence after me. Learning starts when you stop being scared of mistakes. Repeat it again in your mind. Learning starts when you stop being scared of mistakes. Very good. These two sentences are powerful for your journey. Now I will ask you 3 simple comprehension questions. Are you ready? First question. What color was the beginner English book? Think for a moment. Yes, it was blue. Very good. Second question. Who walked into the bookstore feeling shy? Think, yes, a young woman who wanted to learn English. Third question. What advice did I give her? Think, yes, I told her to read one short story a day. Wonderful job. You are improving with every step. After leaving the bookstore, I walked toward a small park nearby. The path was covered with early morning sunlight, and the air was cool and quiet. I sat down on a bench and opened the blue book to read the second story. It said, "Practice is like water. If you stop giving water to a plant, the plant becomes weak." When I read that, something clicked in my mind. English is exactly the same. If you give your English practice a little water every day, meaning a little time, a little listening, a little repetition, your English grows. But if you stop completely, it becomes weaker. And that is why daily listening is one of the most powerful tools you can use. It does not need to be hard. It only needs to be consistent. While I sat on that bench, I looked around the park. Some people walked slowly. Some sat quietly drinking tea. Some children laughed while running around. And as I watched everything, I thought about how learning a language is similar to watching people in a park. Everyone moves at their own speed. Some move fast. Some move slow. Some stop, rest, and then move again. And all of these speeds are okay. Your English journey is not a race. Your English journey is your own personal path. You can walk slowly. You can take breaks.
You can start again.
What matters is that you keep moving, even if the steps are small. Now let's practice some vocabulary from this section. Repeat after me softly. Bookstore, habit, morning practice, mistake, support.
Good.
Now I will use each word in a simple sentence so your ears can hear them in context. Listen and repeat in your mind. I like going to the bookstore. A small habit can change your life. Morning is a fresh start. Practice helps you grow. A mistake is a teacher. Support makes learning easier. Very good. You're doing great. Now, I want to give you a small listening challenge. Listen carefully to this short part and try to imagine it clearly in your mind. I sat on a park bench with the blue book in my hands. The sun felt warm on my face. I took a deep breath and listened to the quiet morning sounds. A soft breeze moved the leaves in the trees. A small bird landed on the bench beside me, looked at me for a moment, and then flew away. Now here's your question. What did the bird do after landing on the bench? Think for a moment. Yes, it looked at me and then flew away. Excellent. You're doing wonderful listening today. After sitting in the park for a while, I closed the blue book and continued walking. On the way home, I thought about the young woman in the bookstore and how she said she felt shy to speak. And maybe you also feel shy sometimes. Maybe you feel nervous or embarrassed when you try to speak English. But I want to tell you something very important. Shyness is not a problem. Shyness is only a feeling. Feelings come and go. What matters is what you do. Even shy learners can learn very fast if they listen more. Listening gives you confidence. Listening gives you words that feel natural. Listening prepares your mind for speaking. So, even if you are shy, keep listening. Keep practicing. Keep showing up. You are stronger than you think. Before ending this section, I want to share a simple tip that I learned from that morning. Build small habits, not big habits. Small habits. Set a tiny goal. Something easy. Something friendly. For example, every morning I will listen to English for 2 minutes. That is all. 2 minutes. When you make the habit so small, your brain feels no pressure. You complete the habit easily. And when you complete it easily, you start feeling good about yourself. And then you continue. 2 minutes becomes 4 minutes. 4 minutes becomes 10. 10 minutes becomes a whole practice like this one. And slowly, you change your future with small steps. And finally, remember this. Your English does not grow in one day. It grows through many small days, many small moments, many small practices. English is not something you learn once. English is something you live with. And you are living with it right now by listening, by thinking, by imagining, by repeating, by trying. You are doing the work. So feel proud of yourself. Feel grateful for your effort. Feel excited for your next step. Because you are on the right path, and you are doing amazing. I want to take you to another moment in my life, one that felt simple at first, but later became one of my favorite memories about learning and teaching. It happened on a rainy afternoon. The sky was dark, the clouds were heavy, and the sound of soft rain was everywhere. I remember sitting near my window, watching the raindrops slide down the glass. Each drop moved slowly, like it was taking its time, with no hurry, no rush. That peaceful moment made me think about learning English. Sometimes your progress feels fast. Sometimes it feels slow. But even slow progress is still progress. Just like the raindrops moving quietly down the window, your listening grows little by little, step by step. So today, as you listen to this story, I want you to imagine that rainy afternoon with me. Feel the calm. Feel the quiet atmosphere. Let your mind relax so your ears can learn naturally. On that rainy day, I decided to go to a small cafe near my home. I took an umbrella and walked down the street while the rain tapped gently on the fabric above me. The cafe was warm and bright inside. When I walked in, I heard soft music playing, the smell of fresh coffee in the air, and the sound of people talking quietly. It felt safe. It felt comfortable. I found a small table near the window and ordered a hot drink. As I sat down, I noticed something interesting. There were two students sitting at the table next to me. One was reading a notebook, and the other was listening to something on her phone with earphones. They looked focused, but also a little tired. After a few minutes, the student with earphones pulled them out and sighed deeply. Her friend asked, "What's wrong?" The girl said, "I want to learn English fast, but the listening feels difficult. Sometimes it feels like the words disappear before I understand them." Her friend nodded and said, "I feel the same." When I heard that, I smiled softly because I knew exactly how they felt. Every learner has moments like that, moments when English feels too fast, too soft, too full of new sounds. But that does not mean you cannot learn. It simply means your brain is still growing. Your ears are still adjusting. Your mind is still preparing. Real progress often happens quietly inside you. You may not see it, but it is happening. Slowly, silently, just like the rain falling outside that cafe. I took a sip of my drink and listened as the students continued talking. The girl with the notebook said, "Maybe we should practice listening together. Maybe we can help each other." The other girl nodded and said, "Yes, but we need something simple. Something that is slow and clear." And it made me happy because that is exactly what this long practice is for, to give you slow, clear, natural English that you can understand, repeat, and enjoy. They opened their notebooks and began reading some simple sentences. They took turns reading and repeating. Their voices were soft but full of hope. And you right now are doing something similar. By listening to this long story, by staying with me through every section, you are helping yourself grow. Let's do a little listening exercise inspired by the cafe moment. Listen carefully to this sentence. The rain was falling softly outside the window. I will say it again, slower. The rain was falling softly outside the window. Now repeat it quietly in your mind.
Good.
Here is another sentence. The cafe felt warm and safe. Repeat it in your mind. The cafe felt warm and safe. Very good. One more. Learning English takes time, and that is perfectly okay. Repeat it. Learning English takes time, and that is perfectly okay. Excellent. Now, let me ask you a few comprehension questions so your ears can practice understanding. First question, where was I sitting in the cafe? Think for a moment. Yes, near the window. Second question, what problem did the student with earphones have? Think. Yes, she said the listening felt difficult and the words disappeared too fast. Third question, what did the two students decide to do? Think. Yes, they decided to practice listening together. Amazing! You're listening very well. After a few minutes, I noticed something beautiful happening at the students' table. They began smiling. They repeated sentences together. They corrected each other kindly. They encouraged each other. And you could feel their confidence growing slowly, just like a small plant receiving water. Their English was not perfect, but their effort was perfect. And that is what truly matters. English grows through effort, not perfection. I watched them for a while, feeling proud, even though they did not know I was a teacher. It reminded me that anyone, anywhere can learn a language if they try a little every day. Suddenly, one of the students laughed and said, "Why do native speakers talk so fast?" Her friend said, "Maybe they don't notice. It's natural for them." She was right. People who grow up speaking English do not think about the speed. They simply talk the way they always talk. But you do not need to listen to fast English to improve. You only need to listen to simple, slow, clear English, the kind you are hearing right now. Start slow. Build your listening muscles. And when you are ready, you can increase the speed. But not now. Now is your calm learning time. Let's practice some vocabulary from this section. Repeat softly after me. Cafe, rain, window, listening, understand, improve, effort, journey.
Good.
Now listen as I use each word in simple sentences. I sat in the cafe. The rain was soft and calm. I looked through the window. Listening takes practice. You understand more every day. You will improve with time. Effort makes you strong. Your journey is special. Wonderful. Now, I want to give you a small shadowing practice. Shadowing means listening to a short sentence and trying to speak it at the same time or right after. You do not need to be perfect.
Just try.
Here is your first sentence. I am learning step by step.
Try to say it with me. Good.
Here is the second. I don't need to rush. Say it softly with me.
Good.
Third sentence. My English is getting better. Repeat it. Very nice. Shadowing helps your brain connect listening and speaking, and the more you do it, the more natural your speaking becomes. After some time, the two students packed their things and left the cafe with smiles on their faces. They looked lighter, more confident, as if the weight on their shoulders had become smaller. And that is what good practice does. It takes away pressure. It gives you hope. It gives you courage. And when they walked out into the rain, they didn't look bothered by the weather at all. They walked with energy, as if they were ready to take on their day. That small moment stayed with me. It reminded me of something important. Confidence grows in quiet moments, not big ones. Confidence grows inside you, not outside you. And as you listen to me now, your confidence is growing too, even if you cannot see it yet. Before we end this section, here is one more listening challenge. Listen closely. The two students left the cafe with new motivation. The rain was still falling, but they didn't mind. They walked together under one umbrella, excited to continue learning. Now here's your question. How did the two students feel when they left the cafe? Pink. Yes, they felt motivated and excited to continue learning. Great job. So before we move to the next section, I want to leave you with one simple message. You're doing very well. You're staying focused. You are listening with your heart, not just your ears. You are learning in a calm, healthy way, slowly, naturally, gently. And this is how real English growth happens. Not through pressure, not through stress, but through peace, through gentle repetition, through small daily steps. You are stronger than you know, and your English is improving more than you can see. So keep going, keep listening, keep believing in yourself. I am right here with you, guiding you through every step of your journey. We're going to explore something that changes everything for every learner. It is the moment when English becomes not just a school subject, not just a language you listen to, not just something you read, but something you begin to think in. Thinking in English is the bridge between being a learner and becoming a speaker. It is the difference between feeling slow and feeling natural. It is the difference between translating every sentence in your head and letting English flow out of you like water. Many learners think that thinking in English is very difficult, but actually it can be simple if you give your brain the right environment. I want you to imagine this like a gentle shift. At first, you think in your native language and try to find English words. But slowly, with practice, simple English thoughts begin to appear naturally. Maybe you hear the word water, and your mind says water instead of translating it. Maybe you see a chair and your brain whispers chair without effort. Maybe you want to express an idea and the English sentence comes to you automatically. This is the first step of thinking in English, and it's already happening inside you as you listen to this long practice. I want to tell you a little story from the time I first started learning another language. I remember walking down the street one morning, and I suddenly realized something small but powerful was happening. When I saw a tree, the word in the new language appeared in my mind without me forcing it. When I saw a car, I thought the word in the new language. When I opened a door, I mentally said door in that language. That's when I understood that the shift had begun. Thinking in a new language doesn't begin with complicated ideas. It starts with small, simple thoughts. It begins with noticing things around you and naming them in English. It begins with turning short sentences into natural habits. It begins with letting English enter your daily life, not as a lesson, but as a quiet companion. To help you experience this shift, I want to take you into another moment from my life. One evening, I was sitting on a balcony, watching cars pass by. The air was cool, and the sky was slowly turning from blue to soft orange. I had my notebook with me, but I wasn't studying. I was just thinking. I looked at the sky and thought, the sky is beautiful tonight. Then I looked at the plants and thought, these leaves look fresh. I wasn't trying to practice. The sentences just appeared. And that's when I realized that thinking in a new language isn't something you fight for. It's something you gently invite into your mind. You create a space for it, and slowly, naturally, it begins to grow. Now, I want to help you feel that experience right here with me. As you're listening, I want you to try something simple. Look around you, wherever you are. Choose one object. It could be your phone, your table, a book, a window, your cup, your shoes, anything. Look at that object and simply think the English word for it. You don't need to say it out loud. Just think it. Now choose another object. Think the English word for it too. Now think a simple sentence about one of those objects. Something like, "This is my phone," or "The window is open," or "The cup is empty." This small action is the beginning of thinking in English. It may feel simple, but it is powerful. When you train your mind to think simple English sentences during quiet moments, your speaking becomes faster, smoother, and more natural. You no longer search for translations. You no longer panic about grammar mistakes. You just speak, because your brain is already used to forming ideas in English. Let's continue the story. As I sat on the balcony that evening, I noticed something funny. I realized that my thoughts were switching between my native language and the new language. Sometimes I thought in my native tongue. Sometimes English appeared. And sometimes they mixed together. I didn't judge myself. I didn't force anything. I allowed my mind to move freely. This mixing stage is very normal and very important for learners. It shows that your brain is active. It is searching for the most comfortable path. And every time English appears naturally, your brain is telling you, "I am ready." Even if the sentences are simple, even if they are small, they are still real English thoughts. Thinking in English also helps you control your fear. When learners feel nervous about speaking, it is usually because they are translating and trying to choose the correct words. But when you think in English, the fear becomes smaller because you no longer feel like you are switching between two languages. You feel like you are simply expressing your thoughts. And that is the moment when fluency becomes possible. Fluency is not about big words or perfect grammar. Fluency is about comfort. Fluency is about feeling relaxed while expressing your ideas. Fluency is about being able to speak without thinking too much. And that only happens when you allow English to enter your mind gently, naturally, without pressure. Let's practice together. I will say a simple sentence, and you will imagine thinking it quietly in your mind. I am here.
Think it.
I am learning. Think it. I can understand this. Think it. I will speak with confidence. Think it. English is part of my daily life. Think it.
Good.
These sentences are not just practice. They're mental training. They teach your brain to create English thoughts automatically. And the more automatic your thoughts become, the easier your speaking becomes. Now, let me continue the story from earlier. As I watched the sunset on the balcony, I heard footsteps behind me. My friend came outside holding a cup of tea. She asked, "Are you thinking deeply about something?" I laughed and said, "Yes, but not about anything serious. I'm just thinking in the new language." She sat down next to me and said, "That's amazing. How does it feel?" I told her, "It feels peaceful. It feels like the language is slowly becoming a natural part of me." My friend smiled and said, "I want to think in English too, but I don't know how." I told her the same thing I'm telling you now. You begin with small sentences. You begin with daily thoughts. You begin with simple naming exercises. And slowly, the language becomes part of your inner world. Let's imagine you're walking outside on a normal day. You see the sky. Think, the sky is blue. You see people walking. Think, they are walking fast.
You feel the wind.
Think, the wind feels nice. You look at your shoes. Think, these are my shoes. If you keep doing this, your mind becomes comfortable with English. You don't need a school. You don't need a textbook. You just need small moments throughout your day when you allow English thoughts to enter your mind. That is the secret. Now, let's do a comprehension check. Listen to the question and answer it quietly to yourself. Why is thinking in English important? Think. Yes, because it makes speaking easier and more natural. Next question. How should you begin thinking in English? Think. Yes, by using small sentences and naming things around you. Next question. Does this process need to be perfect? Think. No, it can be slow, gentle, and simple. Excellent. You're understanding everything beautifully. Another important part of thinking in English is reducing translation. When you translate every sentence in your head, you slow yourself down. You create stress. You make speaking more difficult. But when you think directly in English, you free your mind from translation. You become faster. You become clearer. You become more confident. And your sentences feel natural because they grow directly from English thoughts. Let's practice again. I want you to imagine waking up in the morning. Instead of saying something in your native language, try to think the first sentence of your day in English. Something like, I'm awake now. Or, today will be a good day. Or, I feel ready. You don't have to say it out loud. Just think it. This small habit changes everything. If you start your day with an English thought, your brain stays connected to English for the rest of the day. It keeps the door open. And when the door is open, learning becomes easier. Let me guide you through a small imagination exercise. Close your eyes if you can, or simply relax your mind. Imagine you are sitting in a quiet room. There is soft light, warm air, and a comfortable chair. You are holding a book in your hand. You are relaxed. You feel safe. Now imagine a simple English sentence entering your mind. I'm here. Then imagine another sentence. I'm learning. Now imagine a third one. I'm growing every day. These sentences are not just words. They are mental anchors. They teach your brain to form thoughts directly in English. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Before we finish this section, I want to leave you with a message that comes from my heart. Thinking in English is not about perfection. It is not about showing off. It is not about speaking like a native speaker. It is about giving yourself the freedom to grow slowly. It is about creating a gentle space for English inside your mind. It is about building comfort, not pressure. And I want you to know that you are doing an incredible job. Every time you listen, every time you repeat, every time you think a small sentence in English, you are moving closer to real fluency. You are not just a learner. You are becoming a thinker of English. And once your mind begins to think in English, your speaking will transform. Your confidence will grow. Your fear will shrink. And your voice will become stronger and more natural. So keep going, keep thinking, keep believing in yourself. You are building something beautiful inside your mind, and I'm honored to guide you on this journey. I want you to imagine something very simple, but very powerful. Imagine that you are sitting somewhere quiet, maybe in your room, maybe in a small study corner, Maybe in a place that makes you feel safe and comfortable. You have your phone or your laptop in front of you, and you are listening to this podcast just like you are doing now. You are calm. You are relaxed. And you notice something interesting happening inside you. You are not listening to learn English like you used to. You are not forcing yourself. You are not worried about grammar or vocabulary or mistakes. You are just listening because you enjoy it. You are listening because it feels natural. You are listening because English is slowly becoming a part of your daily life. This is the moment when everything begins to shift. Many learners do not believe that English can become something normal and natural for them, but you're already proving that it can. You are here, you are listening, and you are getting better every single minute you spend with this kind of practice. I want you to notice how your thoughts in English are becoming clearer. When you hear a sentence, you no longer translate every word into your first language. You simply understand the meaning. When you hear a familiar phrase, your brain lights up with recognition. When you hear new words, you stay calm and curious instead of feeling afraid. This is how real listening fluency grows. Not through pressure, not through memorizing long lists, not through forcing yourself to be perfect, but through meaningful, natural exposure. And today, as you listen to my voice, you're giving yourself exactly that. You're giving yourself a chance to grow slowly, confidently, and in a way that stays with you for life. People often ask me, how do I know if I am improving? And the truth is, the signs of improvement are often small and gentle. Maybe one day you understand a full sentence in a movie without subtitles and you feel a spark of excitement. Maybe another day you speak to yourself in English without planning and you feel surprised. Maybe you read a message in English and understand it faster than before. These moments seem small, but they are proof that your brain is changing. Improvement in English is not a big fireworks moment. It is a quiet transformation. It grows slowly, like a plant, and one day you suddenly see how strong it has become. Another thing I want you to understand is that listening practice does not only teach you English. It teaches you patience. It teaches you trust. It teaches you how to be kind to yourself. When you listen without pressure, you are training your mind to relax. When you learn step by step, you are teaching yourself to enjoy the process. This is why the learners who listen regularly, just like you, become confident faster than those who only study from books. Listening makes English alive. It makes it real. It makes it part of your world. Let me tell you something important. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. It is better to listen for 10 minutes every day than to study for 3 hours once a week. Your brain needs small, repeated contact with English, just like a plant needs regular water. When you listen every day, even for a short time, your mind stays connected to the language. English becomes familiar instead of foreign. It becomes friendly instead of stressful. And when something becomes familiar, you stop fearing it.
You start trusting it.
You start enjoying it. This is how fluency grows from inside. In this moment, you are doing the exact right thing. You are living inside the language. You are breathing English. You are giving your brain something real and meaningful. And with every minute you listen, something inside you gets stronger. Your confidence grows.
Your understanding expands.
Your ability to think in English becomes more natural. And I want you to remember this feeling, because this feeling is the foundation of your future fluency. Sometimes you may feel tired. Sometimes you may feel slow. Sometimes you may feel like you are not improving fast enough, and that is normal. Every learner feels this at some point. But the important thing is that you do not stop. You do not give up. You continue showing up, even when it feels difficult. Because when you keep going, you're already winning. You are building a skill that will stay with you forever, a skill that will open doors, create opportunities, and make your life richer in many ways. You are not alone on this journey. You are walking with millions of learners who have the same dream you have. And all of them started just like you, one podcast, one listening session, one moment of courage. And step by step, they became confident. Step by step, they became fluent. Step by step, they transformed their lives. And you are on the same path now. You are becoming the version of yourself who speaks English clearly, confidently, and naturally. I want you to imagine how your life will feel when English becomes something comfortable, something easy, something that flows from you without fear. Think about the moments that will come in the future. Maybe you will watch a movie without subtitles and suddenly realize you understood almost everything. Maybe you will meet someone from another country, and instead of feeling nervous, you will smile and speak naturally. Maybe you will write a message in English and feel proud because the words come out clearly and confidently. These moments are not far away. They are already growing inside you as you listen to this podcast. Every sentence you hear trains your brain. Every idea you understand becomes a part of your knowledge. Every moment you stay connected to English builds your confidence. Fluency is not just a goal, it is a process, and you are living inside that process right now. Many learners believe that fluency means speaking perfectly, but that is not true. Fluency means being able to express your ideas clearly, even if your grammar is not perfect. Fluency means understanding what people say without panicking. Fluency means feeling calm when you hear English because you know you can handle it. You can already feel this happening slowly but surely inside your mind. You may not feel fluent yet, but your mind is preparing the structure. It's like building a house. First, you prepare the foundation. Then you add strong walls. Then you create space inside the house. Right now, listening is helping you build the foundation. And once your foundation is strong, speaking will grow naturally, almost without effort. One of the most powerful things you can do as a learner is trust the process. Trust that your brain is working even when you cannot see the results immediately. Think about when you learned to walk as a child. You did not learn it in one day. You fell many times. You stood up many times. You tried again and again without giving up. And one day, you took your first steps. Learning English works in the same way. You listen, you repeat, you forget, you remember again, and slowly you grow. The progress may feel invisible at first, but it is happening. Your brain is collecting patterns, sounds, rhythms, and expressions. Over time, all these pieces connect, and suddenly you notice that you can understand faster, speak more confidently, and express yourself more naturally. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is your mindset. Your mindset is one of the strongest tools you have in your journey to fluency. If you tell yourself that English is difficult, your brain will believe it. If you tell yourself that you are not good enough, your brain will believe that too. But if you tell yourself, I am improving, I am learning, I am getting better every day, your brain will follow that direction. Your mindset shapes your learning experience. So try speaking to yourself kindly. Try encouraging yourself the same way you would encourage a close friend. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to keep going. Let me share something interesting about the human brain. Your brain loves patterns. It learns best when it hears the same structure many times in different situations. That is why listening every day is so powerful. Even when you are not paying full attention, your brain is still learning. It is noticing the sound of English sentences. It is recognizing familiar words. It is absorbing rhythm. All of this is happening in the background, quietly and naturally. It is like the way you learned your first language growing up. You listened for years before you were able to speak clearly. Your brain is doing the same thing with English now. Listening builds the mental map of the language. Once the map is strong, speaking becomes much easier. Right now, as you listen to my voice, you are training your listening ability in a real, practical way. You are practicing understanding longer sentences. You are practicing staying focused for a longer time. You are practicing feeling relaxed while listening to English. These skills are not small. They are huge. They are the reason why some learners grow quickly, while others remain stuck. And you are already doing the things that will lead you to real fluency. Let me give you an example. Imagine you listen to English every day, even for a short time. After 1 month, your brain will begin to accept English as a part of your daily routine. After 2 months, you will start understanding more without translating. After 3 months, you will start feeling more confident when speaking. And after 6 months, you will feel like a different version of yourself, a version who can enjoy English instead of fearing it. This transformation is possible for you. You are already in the early stages of it right now. I want you to feel proud of yourself, not just because you are learning English, but because you are staying consistent. You are giving yourself a gift that many people wish for, but are too afraid to try. You are choosing growth over comfort. You are choosing progress over fear. And that choice will change your life in ways you cannot fully see yet. You have spent a lot of time listening today, and that alone shows your dedication, your patience, and your desire to become a better English speaker. Listening for a long time is not easy, but you did it, and that already makes you stronger than you were before. As you listen now, imagine that every word is helping you build a brighter version of yourself, a version that feels calm and confident whenever English appears in your daily life. Picture yourself listening to a podcast and understanding more than you expected. Picture yourself talking to someone in English and feeling proud because the conversation flows more smoothly than before. These moments may feel far away right now, but I promise you they will come. You are walking toward them, step by step, minute by minute, sentence by sentence. You may sometimes feel frustrated because you forget new words. That is normal. You may sometimes feel nervous when you speak. That is normal too. You may sometimes think you are not improving fast enough. That also happens to every learner. The truth is, you improve the most on the days you feel discouraged but keep going anyway. You grow the most when you stay patient even when the results feel slow. The days when you want to give up but choose to listen for even 5 minutes, those are the days that shape your future fluency. You are stronger than you think, and your English journey is moving forward with every effort you make. Now, as we end this long lesson together, I want you to feel proud of the time you spent today. Your brain has been working quietly while you listened. It has been absorbing patterns, learning rhythm, and preparing you for better listening and speaking in the future. You may not feel the change instantly, but you will notice it soon. You will notice that you understand more when people talk. You will notice that you do not translate everything in your head as much as before. You will notice that English starts to feel more familiar, more natural, more comfortable. This feeling is a sign that you are becoming the fluent person you want to be. Let me leave you with a simple message. You can do this. You can become fluent. You can speak confidently. You can listen without fear. Your journey is not too hard for you. You are exactly where you need to be. Every small step matters, and you have taken many steps today. Imagine yourself 1 year from now listening to English and smiling because it finally feels easy. That future is possible for you, and it starts with the effort you made today. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening with patience, with curiosity, and with an open heart. I am truly proud of you for staying until the end of this long practice. If you enjoyed this lesson, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new practice. You can like this video if it helped you, and you can comment to tell me what topic you want next. Your support helps this learning community grow, and your voice matters. Until our next lesson, take care of yourself. Keep practicing a little every day, stay positive, and remember that progress happens step by step. I'm happy you were here with me today. See you again soon, my friend.
Bye-bye.